Hello folks, Ed Overstreet, and welcome to the Night Sky Imaging YouTube channel. I don't always uh, image the moon or planets. I'm really more fascinated by deep space photography, but I really don't have the kind of equipment that I would need in order to do planetary imaging. I have the most focal length I have is the Edge 8-inch HD, and I have a reducer on it now. But when I'm imaging deep space, often my target is going to rise later in the evening, and if the moon's around, uh, I'll venture over and take a few pictures. And so what I want to do in this video is kind of give you a heads up on the software program called ImPPG, image processing software, that I like to use in many ways, more so than Registax. They both have they're both fantastic programs, and they're free. So let's take a look at processing the moon. I took it this past week while I was waiting to take some images of the Hercules cluster, which was going to rise late in the night. Alrighty, I'm going to, I thought I was going to share my screen. It won't. There we go. I'll start off using AutoStackered. And AutoStackered is also free software. And after I've taken, now also let me back up, I'm imaging a deep space target tonight with the ZWO 1600 Pro camera, and it is for deep space photography. It is not a planetary camera, so the frame rate is far from spectacular. In fact, uh, I'll be looking at frame rates anywhere from 6 to 15 frames per second, which is very slow. So keep that in mind when you're venturing. But when you're waiting for your target to come to reach an imageable altitude, uh, I like to look for other things to look at. And if your guide scope happens to be suspect, you might want to take the opportunity to head over to the moon and focus it. And it's a lot easier sometimes to focus on something like the moon as opposed to a star. And you can also then head over to a star and do a better job of aligning your guide scope with your main OTA. But I'll take a few images and process them, sometimes on the fly, and this is the software I use for that. So in order to run AutoStackered, I click on Open, and I will pick a video file, and pick this one. You have a couple options. You can choose to change the size of the window so you can see everything. There you go. So I can see what the entire image looks like. And then I want to make sure with the sun or the moon, and I do a lot of solar imaging, but with the sun or the moon, you want to make sure surface is your option selected. I tick improved tracking. I keep checked Laplace, delta. I have local and auto size. That's all that's checked, and then the only thing you need to do now is to analyze. and it'll take a few minutes, uh, even more so on this slow laptop. Okay, it's finished its magic, and you'll move from this window now to this window as we need to create some align points, and you can do this either manually by clicking on various areas uh, that will help AutoStacker with the alignment, and I would pick various areas around the the lunar surface that has contrast, or you may select to, let's clear that, you may select to say pick 48 points, or you can change the numerical value from 48 to really whatever you want by the up and down arrow, or say 104 and place a grid automatically. So it's just really covered the moon with these align points. You'll see them uh, little red dots all around. And of course, they're surrounded by the big green square. Let's just go ahead and use that. Um, Now, I look at this graph. It is a quality graph, and I take note that this slope intersects the halfway or the 50% line. Now keep in mind, the better images are up here, the bad images are down here. So where this intersects, it's establishing an understanding that above this line, about half of my image, I took 1,000. Right down here in the corner, it tells you how many frames you took. So 500 of my images, or roughly 50%, it's slightly less, is above this quality line. That means they're better than 50%, or 50 in the upper 50% of my images. Really, that isn't all that good. The upper 25% is better, and that would mean 250 images are above this line. And of course, everything below this line is of a lesser quality. So you have to decide what percentage or how many, and you can select the number by how many you want to stack or a percentage. So I'm going to say 48%, or let's say 45%. I've put my line points on. That's the only thing that I now need to do. I'm going to keep drizzle off, and I'm going to save in folders. Check, I don't want to select sharpened, and let's stack it. This also takes a few minutes. And we're done. All right, now we're actually finished with the software. It's already been saved. We already had selected save in folders. And what folders did it save in? It saved in the folder named 45 because I selected 45%. So let's close this out, and let's move over to wrong. Let's move over to our Explorer, and you can, let's see here, we want to go, I already have other folders, 50, 35, 30, because I have already worked on almost all of these images, but I don't have but one in the 45, and that's the one we just did. So now I have this TIFF file, and I have a decision to make. Do I want to open this TIFF file in Registax, or do I want to open it in ImPPG? And I think I'm going to do both. But let's head over to ImPPG and let's take a look at that software. Okay, and I will put a link on my on this YouTube video as how you can access uh, the file so you can download it. The link. This is the icon for ImPPG, and when you open it, this is what you will see. Now, I want to talk with you about the many things that you can do with this. One, you can work on one image, and that's it. But let's suppose that you want to do a time lapse, and you took 400 images, uh, 400 videos, and you have loaded every one of those into AutoStackered, which you can do. Process just one and then start it, and it will process and save all of them. So let's suppose that we have now batch processed in AutoStackered 200 or 300 videos. Then you can head over here and you can choose the batch processing setting and load all of them up and apply your wrinkles, your adjustments that you may have made. So let's make an adjustment to the one we just took. So let's go to File, Open, and we need to, we're not in OneDrive, we need to go to our Astro drive, and we want Lunar 313 and 45, and this is our TIFF file. Now my curves box automatically comes up, and it's because it was there the last time I used it. But when you open this, you won't have that, so you'll have to go up here and click on Show Tone Curve, and this is where you can do a number of things. If you have watched any of my solar videos, I sometimes run an inverted curve, or I create that inverted curve by yanking this thing way up at the top and actually inverting the entire process. But I want to reset this. What I want to do now is just make somewhat of an S curve. I want to darken just slightly, but where all these pixels are, I want to kind of bring up some of the luminosity. Not a lot, but that's one of the adjustments I want to make. And then I also want to zoom in, which I really like to do. I have a box here that shows the area that we're working on. It shows the area that we're working on, but I would like to see the entire area. So I'm going to go to Edit, Select, and Process All. So the entire area now is going to be affected by any changes. And what I really like about being able to work with this as opposed to Registacks is I can zoom up and kind of take a look at the effects of my adjustments on the fly. So I'm going to use Lucy-Richardson deconvolution, and I'm going to drag this up some and see what's going on with my lunar surface. Then I'm going to go down to unsharp mask. I do not, on lunar or on solar, I do not use prevent ringing. There are no stars in the image that I have ringing issues with. So now I'm going to bring up and if you don't think this is moving, you're wrong. It bounces back, but it's actually moving up. So I'm raising the sigma on unsharp mask, which I akin to changing the radius. And now I'm going to actually apply some sharpening. And you can see on the fly what that does. So we want to overdo it there. Let's reset it. And so we're going to bring sigma back up, and then let's don't really want to bring sigma up too much, just slightly. We'll make our sharpening using this algorithm. So let's just say we like that. And we can zoom out and see how it looks, and I don't like that. It's too much. I'm going to reset it. And I'm going to just make my adjustments based on how it affects the entire image. And I'm probably happy with that. And so when you're done, you do have to go up to your file, and you want to make sure you save. But if you want to save your process settings, then everything that you've done will be saved. And let's assume again you're back into doing time lapses, and you're going to be imaging Jupiter as it rotates. And so you've got 150, 200 videos of Jupiter, and you have processed one, and you want to save that processing application and batch process the rest of them using that setting. Then this gives you that option to do that. Then when you're done, you can align all of those images by clicking on Align and add all your image files. Pick a folder to save it to and start processing, and it will take every one of those images that you took and align them so that you can now take all of those images and put them in a GIF or an AVI file, and they're aligned. They won't be jumping around. So pretty cool. So this is powerful software, and together with AutoStackered, it's really all you need to do planetary, lunar, solar imaging with, I feel like, as much control, if not more so, and with more options than you actually have if you use Registax for the wavelets feature. Now, I'm not a fan of using Registax for the stacking side. I think AutoStackered outperforms that aspect of Registax by far. But Registax does have some outstanding features in its wavelets. So let's go over there and look at that. Let's go ahead and save this, and we're going to call this, we want to save it as a, let's just save it as a ping file, and let's just call this Lunar ImPPG, image post processing is what it stands for. Now let's head over to Registax, which I already have opened, and let's select our image. And now we're looking for 45, and there is our TIFF file. And you can show the full image by clicking this option, and you can show the processing area, the area that's going to be affected, because as in ImPPG, by default, this only processes part of the image because of the amount of processing power that it takes. Now, what I have found is that in ImPPG, and I have a pretty old laptop with not a fast processor or graphics card, so it really works well. I edit the entire image, as you saw a few minutes ago. But it's not the case with Registax. Of course, you don't have the option, I don't think, to do the entire image. So now that I have the image area that's going to show my adjustments, then I'm going to make some changes to these wavelets. The default is 1 and 0 with automatic checked. I don't change anything. Use linked wavelets. I've never checked. This is the way it's set up. Now, you may have some, you have the ability to save, and I do. I have all of these settings that I've saved for the moon, for Jupiter, different ones for the planets that I image. So you can save your settings that you use, but let's just go ahead and do one from scratch. I'm going to start in the middle, round 3, and bring this up somewhere in that area. And again, there's no point looking over here because it won't change. We need to look in this area where this box is. And then I'm going to come up to wavelet area 2, wavelet 2, drag that up, and you can see the effects of sharpening. And this is your fine, more detailed sharpening. And I would say that's probably as sharp as much as I would use. And then you click on Do All, and it will sharpen the entire image. So this is your other option. You can save this, and we'll save this as Reggie 1, and we'll use JPEG. I should use JPEG on the other instead of PNG, and we'll save that. Should be saving it, but I think we have a malfunction, and we have a not responding. We'll give it a second. It may recover. It did. So it saved it. Now we're going to head back to I don't want to open it there. I got it already open. Let's go to, and oh, diddle squat. Let me go back up to, I made a boo-boo. All right, we have our, let's go back and see if did I close out ImPPG? I hope I didn't. Nope, there it is. We're going to save this again. Save, and we're going to save it to, not the moon, we want to go to, where are we here? .45, and we're going to we'll save it as an 8-bit TIFF. File name is ImPPG 1. Now let's save it as a PNG. So now we'll go back and we'll see if we can't bring them both up so we can, well, keep hitting that. All right, that's probably as close as I can get them without them going full screen on me again. But I don't know which one is which, but it's pretty, ImPPG is over here, and RegiStacks is over here. But I'm showing you that they both apply some sharpening. It's really tough to compare because I could have used sliders and sharpening on both of them slightly different, and it would, you would notice it. But you can see that both of them are very effective in creating some nice detail and contrast using their sharpening algorithms. So with that being said, check out ImPPG. I will put a link to it. I'll put a link to RegiStacks, and I'll put a link to AutoStacker. Again, all three of these software programs are free for the using. all you need is a telescope, a camera that's planetary that'll take some video files, and clear sky night, and then you can move all your images into these software programs and produce some nice stuff. All right, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next video.